Hello, sweet friends. Thank you so much for joining me for the Cozy Mile Afghan. So, this blanket is very easy. It's going to be a quick tutorial because there are not a lot of steps. This is a very easy stitch for a very fancy look. So, if you know how to chain, single crochet, double crochet, and slip stitch, you can make this blanket so easily. So, I do want to tell you that I used Hobby Lobby yarn for all of the colors, and what I used for the white was a Pound of Love Lion brand yarn, and if I could do it over, I would make the white the same as the Hobby Lobby yarn. It was a tiny bit thinner than the Hobby Lobby yarn, so I would have preferred all of that be consistent, but I had so much white in my stash that I decided to just use that out of my stash and then purchase the colors that I wanted in the Hobby Lobby I Love This Yarn. So I have everything that I used in the description along with the yardage. I will put a picture up of the full blanket so that if you would like to same color layout as this blanket, then you can do that. I also have two different pictures of what the strips look like together if you only use white in the center or if you only use white on the outside. So if you like that look better, one or the other of those, you have just a sneak peek of what that looks like as well. So if you want to choose a different color order or something like that, and you still like these colors, I just wanted to give you an idea of what it would look like if you did all white centers or all white outer borders here, outer rows here, just so you can see what that looks like. So these are made up in strips. So you are working this centerpiece first, then you're going around with this other row here, and then after that you do a single crochet row. So these are all made up of double crochets. These are made up of double crochets, and this last row is a single crochet row. And then when you join them together, a lot like how you would join a granny square, you have multiple options to join this together. You can choose whatever option you would like. I used a slip stitch join so that you can see in the back that I have a little ridge here. That is a slip stitch join on the back side. I'll show you how I did that, but you can join these strips in whatever way you would like. This blanket is made up of 13 strips. You can make it smaller or larger. You're just going to need more or less yarn than what I list in the description. So let's get started on the instructions on how to make this blanket. I am using a 5.5 millimeter hook. I would recommend going with the size listed on the yarn skein that you are using. So we are going to start with a slip knot. How you start your slip knot, you're going to have your yarn wrapped around your fingers like this. I'm going to hold it tight with my thumb and have that tail hanging off the end. Now I'm going to wrap my yarn around my fingers like that and just cross over the back side. And then I'm going to slip my hook underneath that first wrap and grab the second one. And I'm just letting that flow through my fingers over here so it just slides through. And then I'm just going to hang on to the end and this other yarn here and just let that slide out and pull that tight. And now you have a slip knot. Now I'm going to chain 5. And we're going to join to the first chain that we made. So just go right into that first chain, pull up a loop, and pull through this loop that's on your hook. So that's a slip stitch. All right, you've got a ring now. So now you're going to chain 3, and we're going to put 2 double crochets into that ring. So you're wrapping your yarn around, go into that ring, pull up a loop, wrap around, bring through 2, wrap around, bring through 2. That is your double crochet. If you need help on beginner stitches, I do have a playlist listed in the description that you can visit if you are interested in all the beginner stitches. All right, so we have our 1 double crochet, and I'm going to add my second double crochet into that ring. So now I've got my chain 3 and my 2 double crochets. Going to chain 1 and put 3 double crochets into that same ring. All right. So you can see the beginning of our base row here. So we've got our chain 5, chain 3 that is in place of a double crochet. We have 2 double crochets, a chain 1, and 3 double crochets. Now we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. Now we're going to be working into that chain 1 space that we made on the previous row. We're going to do 3 double crochets into that space. And now we're going to chain 1 and do 3 double crochets into that same chain 1 space. All right, so for our second tier here, we have our chain 3, bringing up the height there, a 3 double crochet, chain 1, 3 double crochet worked into that chain 1 space of the previous row. Now we are going to put a double crochet into the top of that chain 3 that we made at the beginning of the first row. So a double crochet right into the top of that chain 3. So now you can see we have 2 tiers here. Got our chain 5 ring, tier 1, tier 2. Okay, now this next row is what you are going to be repeating for the entire strip. And this is just the center strip that you're making. So we're going to chain 3, turn your work, 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. There's 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. Okay, and now we're going to double crochet into this space right here. So that is our chain 3 that we made to bring up the height for this tier. And we're just going to go right in into that open space right there with a double crochet. So then it's going to look like that. First tier, second tier, third tier. And you're just going to repeat this last tier that we did over and over until you reach your desired length. I'm going to chain 3. I'm going to show you this a couple more times so you can see it. So chain 3, turn our work into this chain 1 space. We're working 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. So we've got our 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles into the same space. And now we're going to double crochet into this chain space below. So double right into that open space. Okay, and chain 3, and you're just going to continue doing this the whole length of your strip. So 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, and the same space. Okay, and then a double crochet into that space right there. All right, so you are just going to repeat this tier over and over and over. For the blanket that I made, I did 70 tiers here. So this would count as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I did 70 of those. And I will be right back to show you the second round that we do on this strip. Now, since this is an example piece, I did not do the full 70 tiers here, but I'm just going to show you the basic technique of what you're going to do. It's the same no matter what size stripe you make, so you can make it short, small, you could make one stripe and use it as a scarf. You could do whatever you want with this technique. All right, so where you're going to start is on your last tier that you just completed. You're going to attach your new color into this space right here. So you can either do that with you can either attach your yarn, either tying a knot or using a slip knot and attaching it and chaining 3, or you can do what I'm going to do, and that is doing a standing double crochet. And how you do that is you put your slip knot on your hook, and now you wrap your yarn around once. You hold tight to those with your finger so it doesn't slip around. And now you're going to put your hook into that space. So you can see this is your top where that one chain is. And then this was your side and this is your other side. So I'm going to go on the right hand side, just go into that space, pulling up a loop. I've got 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to wrap around, take through 2, and I'm holding this tail with the opposite hand now to secure it. And now I have 2 loops on my hook, wrap around, pull through 2. That is my first double crochet. And like I said, if you do not want to do it this way, you can tie your yarn or attach your yarn with a slip knot and chain 3. That would be your chain 3 would be the equivalent of this first double crochet. All right, so now we are going to make 2 more double crochets in this space. And we're going to chain 1 and work another 3 doubles into that space. Okay, so we have made a type of corner over here for our one side space. Now we're going to work into this chain 1 space, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. All right, so we have this side corner type thing, then this top corner type thing, and now we're going to work the same thing into this side space here. So again, just 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets. Okay, so now you can see we have 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles, and those are all in these chain spaces here. All right, now for the sides, we are just going to be working 3 double crochets into each of these spaces all the way down. So 3 doubles in this space, like that. 3 doubles in the next space, like that. And in each space all the way down. And then I will meet you when we are back to our last space down here. So the last space that you can see on the side, I will meet you there. All right, so I have worked all the way down and I have this last space open. So I'm going to do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into that space. So the same thing that we did with our other corner type angles. So that was 3 doubles, going to chain 1 and put 3 doubles in that same space. Okay, so now we're at the bottom of our stripe where we first started with that chain 5. So I have in this little corner, I've got my 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing into this chain 5 that we started on. For this color, it's just that starting point that we had. So 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles. Okay, now you can see that. I've got my first one here, my second one here, and we're doing the third one over here. Sorry, my tails are getting in the way. So you can see that space right there. So I'm doing 3 doubles, chain 1, 3 doubles into that next space. All right, so you can see that this is the same as the other end here. And again, your stripe will be longer. It will not be this tiny unless you want to make it this tiny for something. But then you can see both ends. You see how they both have that nice little point on the end there? And then you are working this side the same as you did this one. So 3 double crochets in each of these spaces. And I will meet you when we're back here. I've completed this round. So now I'm just going to put a slip stitch into that first double that we made of this row. So slip stitch into there, chain 1. And I don't think I mentioned this on our first row, but when you've completed your last double crochet, you would just do a 1 chain and then cut your yarn. I'll show you what that looks like here. Cut your yarn, leave it long enough so that you can cut in your, or so you can sew in your ends later. And then I've got my chain 1 there. I'm just going to pull that yarn through and pull it tight. And that's the same thing with that one. I ended the same way with the green. All right, now I'm going to show you the last round, and then I will show you how you connect the strips. Now for our last round of the strip, what we're going to do is make a slip knot, and you are going to attach to it can be this one here on the bottom, it can be this one on the top, whatever you'd like, but the chain one space that is on the upper right-hand side, however you're holding it. So I'm going to do a standing single crochet. If you don't want to do this, standing single, you can attach your yarn and then chain one and do a single crochet in place of what I'm showing you right now. So I have my slip knot on my hook, going to put it into that chain one space of that little corner side there and pull up a loop. I've got 2 loops on my hook. I'm going to wrap around and take through 2. That's a standing single crochet. All right, now I'm going to do another single crochet. All right, so if you attach your yarn a different way, you just want the end result to have 2 singles in this space. All right, and now you're going to single crochet into the top of each double crochet until you get to your next chain one space. All right, so I have reached my chain one space up here at the point, and I'm going to put 2 single crochets into that space right there. And then single crochet into each stitch until you get to your next chain one space. All right, there's our next chain one space. So it's just 2 singles right into that space. And now you are going to do your single crochets all the way across until you get to your next chain one space. And that's going to be 2 single crochets into that chain one space. And we're really mimicking just what we did over here. All right, so single into each double that you made from the previous row. And I will meet back up with you when we reach that chain one space. So we have made it all the way to that chain one space right there. So I'm going to single crochet. I'm going to single crochet into that space, 2 singles into that chain one space there, just like we did on the other points. I'm going to work single crochets up to this chain one space, put 2 singles there, single crochet in each space, in each stitch until you get to the chain one space, 2 singles there, and then you are working a single crochet into each stitch all the way across your project, and I will meet back with you when we get here. And when you have completed your last stitch here, you're just going to slip stitch into the first single crochet of this row, chain 1, cut your yarn, pull that through, and pull it tight, and you are secure there. Now I'm going to show you how I attach these to each other. So when you are joining your strips, I just want to remind you that these go all one direction. So you see that this strip is facing the same direction as the one next to it, where this was our chain 5 space, and then this was our chain 5 space over here, and then this one was our chain 5 space. You just want to make sure that the beginning row, your chain 5 space, is always on this side of the blanket and you don't have them like 1 chain 5 space up here, and then so this, I would say this is the bottom. So what you want to make sure you do is make sure that you always have the bottom of the strip on the same side of the blanket, not the bottom of the strip, the top, and you just want them to go the same direction because these clusters face a certain way. So, like, as an example, this is my chain 5 space down here. That's my chain 5 space here. So, having these next to each other, you can see that the tiers go up this direction and up and up, and this one goes this way, this way, this way, this way. So you can see that they're opposite directions there. So you just want to make sure that when you're connecting them, that you always have the start and the end at pointing the same direction each stripe so that they're consistent. And if you accidentally put one the wrong direction, it's not going to ruin it. You will probably be the only one that can see it. So don't fret if it is something like that. But all right, so the way I'm going to show you, I'm just going to use my swatch here and attach it to this blanket. It's going to be temporary, but I'm going to show you what the join looks like so that you can see the stitches. And I also want you to be able to see the contrasting colors of where the stitches are going and landing on each piece. So when you join, for the technique that I'm going to show you, again, you can join these strips in any way that you'd like. I do have a tutorial that I have linked in the description that shows different joining techniques if you'd like to check that out, if you don't have a preferred method of joining squares together. It's the same idea. Squares and stripes are going to be the same type of join. All right, so for this method, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my two sides facing each other. So again, I've got my two starting spaces here, so my chain 5 space and my chain 5 space there, and I'm going to put them face to face like that. And what you want to do is make sure that your chain, let's see, so you see how you have your 2 single crochets in this little corner space, that, or this angle, whatever we're calling that. So you've got your 2 double crochets. I'm going to join with this second one. So there's the first one, there's the second one. And in this one, tails out of my way because I have not joined them. I have not sewn them in. So on this one, you have number 1 and number 2. So I'm going to make sure that number 2 here on my front piece and number 2 of my back piece are both lined up. And that's what you want to make sure while you're going across, that you start at the same stitch for both pieces. So I'm going to take my yarn and put a slip knot on here. And so I have lined up my stripes, and I'm going to go into, see, I'm going to show you on I'm starting right on my knot, so that's hard to show you the right direction of where you're going. But all right, so you can see your 2 slip stitches, 2 single crochets here. We're going to work into the second one. For this technique, I'm only working into the back loop of that stitch. And if you look at the top part of these stitches, you can see those V's. So this one right here is your front loop, and this one right here is your back loop. So I'm working in the back loop only. All right, so I have my yarn in there, and I'm doing that for the front and the back. I'll show you better on this front piece because I ran into that knot there. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around and pull it through the one side and then through the second side and then through the loop on my hook. That is a slip stitch of joining these two together. Right, and again, I am going into the back loop only. So because this is facing together, both back loops are on the outside of your pieces. So the ones that are on this side are considered your back loop only. I know that might be confusing. And you can also join in whatever color or whatever stitch you want because it is whatever join you prefer. But you can see on these stitches that you've got a loop that is on the outside of your work and a stitch or a loop that is on the inside of your work. And right here, there's one on the inside and one on the outside. We're going on both loops on the outside of your pieces. So that one's on the outside, this one is on the outside. You can see that the inside loops are still unworked in there. I hope you're able to see that or understand what it is that I'm trying to share. I know it's a little confusing. So then taking my hook through the back loop of this piece and the back loop of the next piece and going through all of those with your slip stitch. So back loop, grab the yarn, pull it through and pull it through the loop on your hook. So back piece, so back loop only of both of those pieces, wrap around, pull through both and the one on your hook. So that is your slip stitch join. And you're just going to join all the way down to the same stitch at the other end, just like we joined on the same stitch up here. So it was the first single, and then you'd go all the way down to this side, and then your first single in that little corner space, you would join that would be your last stitch that you would join, and just make sure it is the corresponding stitch of the strip on the back. But what this looks like, if you were to do all the same color like I've done over here, you're not even going to see your join. But this right here, you can see where that join is. And it looks nice and tidy. There's nothing wrong with different colors if you want to do a different color. It really is pretty, even if it's not the same color. But then I want to show you the back side of what this join looks like. So this is what it looks like as all one color. You can see that nice little ridge. It's very tidy, but you can't really tell because it's all the same color. And then this one here, sorry about all my tails. This one here, you can see that join and what it looks like in a different color. So you can make this however you would like to make it, but then you would just continue joining that way. Or like I mentioned, do whatever kind of join you'd like. You could do a whip stitch, you could do a mattress stitch, you can do a single crochet, a slip stitch like I'm doing. You can do whatever join you'd like. It's totally preference and whatever would be the best fit for you. Thank you so much for joining me for the Cozy Mile blanket. I hope you had a wonderful time. I know it was a short tutorial, not a lot to this one. It is considered one of the classics, like one that your grandma may have made before or someone else that you know. Sometimes these are found in the thrift store. It's just a really nice pattern that I just wanted to make sure that it didn't get lost and people could still access a really nice mile a minute blanket. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have not already subscribed, I'd love for you to hit that subscribe button. It helps me so much. And also, if you could like this video, that would also help me a bunch. And thank you so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week and you find joy in the little things.